Imagine being able to accomplish more by doing less, to achieve your goals without struggle, without force, without exhaustion. For over 2,000 years, Taoist masters have practiced a secret that seems paradoxical to the Western mind. They call it Wu Wei. And once you understand it, you'll never approach life the same way again. Welcome back to Taoist Mind Training. In our last episode, we explored what Taoist mind training is and the three fundamental pillars of practice. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most profound and practical concepts in all of Taoist philosophy, Wu Wei. Now, before you think this means doing nothing or being passive, stop. That's the most common misunderstanding of Wu Wei. Wu Wei is not about inaction. It's about a specific kind of action. It's the difference between forcing a solution and allowing it to emerge, between pushing the river and moving with the current, between white-knuckling your way through life and dancing with reality. And here's what makes this so powerful for modern life. Wu Wei isn't just ancient philosophy. It's a trainable skill that can transform how you work, create, solve problems, and relate to others. So let's understand what Wu Wei really means, where it comes from, and most importantly, how you can start practicing it today. To understand Wu Wei, we need to start with observation. Watch how water moves. Water never forces. It never struggles. Yet it's one of the most powerful forces on Earth. It carved the Grand Canyon. It shapes mountains. It can cut through stone. How? Not through force, through consistency, patience, and always finding the path of least resistance. So Wu Wei literally translates as non-doing or non-action. But the ancient Taoists didn't mean do nothing. They meant something more subtle and more profound. Wu Wei means acting without forcing, moving without struggle, doing without overdoing. It's action that is perfectly aligned with the natural flow of reality. Think of bamboo in a storm. It doesn't resist the wind. It bends with it. That's Wu Wei. The bamboo acts. It moves, but it doesn't fight against nature. For more and better understanding, see these examples. Martial artist redirecting force rather than blocking. Sailor adjusting sails to wind rather than fighting it. River finding path around obstacle. Vine growing towards sunlight. Naturally, Wu Wei is sometimes called effortless effort. There is effort, but it's the right kind of effort, applied in the right way at the right time. Here's a modern example. Think about learning to ride a bike. At first, you try so hard. You're tense, gripping the handlebars, overthinking every movement. You fall, you struggle. But once you get it, you stop trying so hard. You relax, you flow. You found Wu Wei. The bike riding happens through you, not by you. This is the secret. Wu Wei is the state where you and the action become one, where effort becomes effortless, where doing feels like not doing because there's no resistance, no friction, no struggle. Athletes call it the zone. Psychologists call it flow state. Musicians call it being in the groove. Taoists called it Wu Wei, and they figured out how to access it deliberately. Now here's where it gets interesting, and where most people get confused. Wu Wei contains a paradox. The Wu Wei paradox. The Tao does nothing, yet nothing is left undone. Tao Te Ching, chapter 37. How can you do nothing, yet accomplish everything? This sounds like nonsense to the logical mind. But watch this. You try to force open a stuck jar lid. You squeeze, you strain, your face turns red. Nothing. Then you stop forcing. You relax. You think differently. You use hot water. The lid opens effortlessly. You accomplished more by forcing less. This is the paradox resolved. Wu Wei doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing exactly what's needed, nothing more, nothing less, in perfect harmony with the situation. Some examples in nature: seed growing into plant, not forcing, just natural unfolding; cat hunting, patient waiting, then sudden precise action; sun rising, consistent, effortless, inevitable. Nature is the perfect teacher of Wu Wei. A seed doesn't try to become a tree. It doesn't force growth. It simply follows its nature, and growth happens. Left, forcing, person arguing, trying to convince someone right. Wu Wei. Peaceful conversation, listening, natural agreement. Left, forcing, someone pushing against a stuck door. Right, Wu Wei. Person finding a different entrance or technique. Left, forcing, trying to remember something by straining right. Wu Wei. Relaxing, and memory returns naturally. Left, forcing, forcing creativity, staring at blank page. Frustrated right. Wu Wei. Walking in nature, ideas flowing freely. Forcing creates resistance. Wu Wei eliminates resistance. Forcing exhausts you. Wu Wei energizes you. Forcing often fails. Wu Wei consistently succeeds, though not always in the way you expected. So how do you actually practice Wu Wei in your daily life? I'm going to give you 5 practical principles you can start using immediately. Principle 1. Observe before acting. The first principle is simple but powerful. Pause. Observe. Feel the situation before you act. Water doesn't decide where to flow. It senses the landscape and moves naturally. You can do the same. Let's say there's conflict at work. Your instinct might be to jump in immediately with a solution or defense. Wu Wei says, pause, observe, feel the energy of the situation. What's actually needed here? Sometimes the Wu Wei action is silence. Sometimes it's a question. Sometimes it's stepping back. Practice. Next time you face a challenge, take 3 breaths before responding. Just observe. Principle 2. Find the path of least resistance. Second principle, always look for the easiest path, not the lazy path, the path where reality is already moving in your direction. If you're pushing really hard and getting nowhere, that's a sign you're not in Wu Wei. There's almost always an easier way. Your job is to find it. In martial arts, a hard block meets force with force, exhausting. A soft redirect uses the attacker's own momentum, effortless. Same result, completely different energy. Practice. When something feels hard, ask, is there an easier way I'm not seeing? Principle 3. Work with timing. Third principle, timing is everything. Wu Wei understands that there's a right time for action and a right time for waiting. You can't force harvest in winter. You can't force spring to arrive early. There's a natural timing to things. Wu Wei means sensing that timing and acting accordingly. Maybe you need to have a difficult conversation with someone. You could force it when they're stressed and defensive, or you could wait until they're open and receptive. Same conversation, completely different outcomes. Practice. Learn to sense. Is now the right time? If it feels forced, wait. Principle 4. Let go of rigid plans. Fourth principle. Be like water, not like stone. Water adapts to every container. Stone breaks under pressure. Plans are useful, but Wu Wei means holding them lightly. Reality rarely unfolds exactly as planned. The person in Wu Wei adapts, adjusts, flows with what is rather than forcing what they wanted. Traffic jam. You can't control it. You have two choices: rage against reality, stress, honk, feel miserable. Or accept what is, put on music or a podcast. Use the time productively. Same situation, completely different experience. Practice. When plans change, say, okay, what's the Wu Wei response here? Principle 5. Trust your intuition. Fifth principle. Your intuition is wiser than your overthinking. Wu Wei often comes from the gut, not the head. Overthinking creates resistance. You analyze every possibility, second guess yourself, get trapped in mental loops. Wu Wei means trusting that first clear intuition, that sense of yes or no before the mind clutters it up. Watch a such person's draw. Pure Wu Wei. No second guessing, no self-criticism, just flow. Then watch another person try to draw. Overthinking, erasing, judging. We lost Wu Wei by learning to force. Practice. Notice your first instinct before thinking. That's often Wu Wei speaking. Let's bring this into specific areas of your life. Here's what Wu Wei looks like in practice. At work. Scenario 1. Problem solving. When facing a difficult problem, Wu Wei means step away, take a walk, let your subconscious work on it. The solution often appears when you stop forcing. In creativity. Scenario 2. Creating content. When writing or creating, Wu Wei means don't force inspiration. Create the conditions, quiet space, right time, good tools. Then let it flow through you. When it's not flowing, do something else. In relationships. Scenario 3. Conflict resolution. In arguments, Wu Wei means listen more than you speak. Respond to the energy behind the words, not just the words. Sometimes the Wu Wei action is to not respond at all. In learning. Scenario 4. Skill development. When learning something new, Wu Wei means practice consistently without strain. Trust the process. You can't force mastery. You can only create conditions for it to emerge. The beautiful thing about Wu Wei is that it gets easier with practice. The more you recognize when you're forcing, the faster you can shift to flow. It becomes second nature. Let's practice recognizing Wu Wei right now. This will take just 1 minute. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a slow, deep breath in. Pause 3 seconds. And release it gently. Pause 3 seconds. Notice your breathing. Don't try to control it. Just watch it happen. Your body breathes. You don't have to make it breathe. This is Wu Wei. Pause 5 seconds. Now think of something you've been forcing lately. Maybe a decision, a project, a relationship. Feel that tension in your mind. Pause 5 seconds. Now imagine letting go of that forcing. Imagine allowing instead of pushing. Notice how that feels different in your body. Pause 5 seconds. This is the feeling of Wu Wei, allowing, trusting, flowing instead of forcing. Remember this feeling. You can return to it anytime. Pause 3 seconds. Take one more deep breath, and when you're ready, open your eyes. Wu Wei is one of those concepts that seems simple, but contains infinite depth. The more you practice it, the more you'll discover. Remember, Wu Wei isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing exactly what's needed in harmony with reality, without unnecessary force. Your practice this week. Notice when you're forcing. Just notice. That's enough. Once you see it, the shift toward Wu Wei happens naturally. In our next episode, we'll explore Zuowang, the practice of sitting and forgetting. It's one of the most powerful meditation techniques in the Taoist tradition, and we'll walk through it step by step. If this episode helped you understand Wu Wei, hit that like button and subscribe for the next episode. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one thing in your life you've been forcing that you could approach with Wu Wei instead? Until next time, practice Wu Wei. Let it flow.